In today's episode, I want to talk about a simple three-step strategy that you can use to get going in a direction with raw food that feels good and comfortable to you. I don't know if you're anything like me, but I spent many years putting on the proverbial raw food straitjacket, where I told myself that I was going to go raw tomorrow and never look back and never eat cooked food ever again, and that was just going to be the end of it. And guess what? This strategy never worked for me because I kept coming up against obstacles within myself, and I couldn't figure out what they were for the longest time. I fully believed in the concept that it was just that cooked food was so addictive that it kept bringing me back to it. Until I finally got so frustrated with this strategy because it just wasn't working for me and I had to find another way. And it actually kept not only not working for me, but actually leading me in the opposite direction, because I found myself doing maybe a month of this perfect raw food thing and then 6 weeks of eating a whole bunch of garbage that I had been telling myself, oh, you can't have all this stuff. And today my story's a little bit different, and I'll get to that in a second. But I finally discovered that actually the first step was to stop focusing on the food and the percentage of raw food as the solution to becoming more raw. And it actually doesn't, it seems like it doesn't make sense, but when you're focusing on the food as a good, bad thing and the solution to all your problems, you're actually not allowing yourself to live your life as it might come to you in every moment. Which brings us to step 2, which is really starting to become mindful about focusing on your sense of peace in every moment. So it's not about allowing yourself to go and eat everything. That's not what it is. It's about realizing where your sense of inner peace really comes from. We all know, of course, that chasing cravings can actually lead to a lot of pain and misery. So it's not that. It's about recognizing that some of your desires may come from places within yourself that are a sense of wanting to bring fulfillment to your life, whereas other things might come from just a sensual craving that's going to bring pain. So if you can hone in on what brings you peace, then that will get you further down the road toward discovering a diet and lifestyle that works for you as an individual. For me, I can say, just to give an example of this, I kept saying that I was never going to have cooked food ever again. I was going to be the perfect raw fooder on the raw food wagon, and I kept getting derailed. And one of the things that kept derailing me was that I love to travel the world and experience other cultures. And let's face it, one of the ways to experience other cultures is through their food, and it's usually cooked food. And for me to tell myself that I was never going to have this cultural experience ever again, to me that just felt awful. It didn't feel like I would be exploring my life in the way that I fully would want to explore my life. And I finally had to come to terms with this, which brings us to step 3, is that you have to learn to trust what your inner wisdom is telling you. And we all have inner wisdom. It's been handed down to us over the millennia, and so we have to learn to trust that. But in order to trust it, we really do need to get in touch with our own sense of peace on a moment-by-moment basis. And through becoming more aware and more mindful and using this 3-step strategy, for me, I've definitely found a way of living a predominantly raw food lifestyle in a way that's comfortable for me, and it feels like freedom now. It doesn't feel like a straitjacket anymore. And I hope that you can find the same thing for you.